Yeah, it was a very good start by the lads. Possibly didn't get the return we're hoping for, but turned penalties into points, so that was important to us. When you look at the second half, you can see why. It was a very stop-start second half, but Italy brought a lot of pressure to bear and played well.
Oh no, I think if you look at the game, the way that the second half ended, you'd say that Italy were playing well, but I thought we played very, very well in the first half. So you've got to put that into perspective. And I think, one thing that people have to take into account is it's very hard to win over here against a fired-up Italian side at home. And once you give them a sniff, I thought it was a great amount of character shown by our boys, and it adds to the, I guess, the reserves of belief that the team takes forward. They can win close games. So, sure, it would have been nice to kick on from that first half, but in a lot of ways it's a great lesson for us to learn going forward, particularly into next year.
It doesn't sound like a big divide to me.
No,
there's nothing between them. You saw it today.
No, they've clearly changed the way they go about the game. They still have their traditional strengths around the forwards, but clearly they've got some pretty big backs that can penetrate the line, and we're expecting that tonight.
Oh, absolutely.
At the moment during the match?
Absolutely. As you possibly read in our dialogue pre-game, we have a lot of respect for the Italian side. We've played them a lot recently. Yeah, I don't think that was a big part of it. I think you can't fault the physical effort of our blokes. Clearly, we weren't accurate, so some of our delivery wasn't great, and that opened the door to some extent. But I think the physical effort was huge. I think, in credit to Italy to that end, I think our group, it's very evident that our group is at the end of a long, demanding year. We've got one to go. But if they hadn't shown this sort of physical persistence, they wouldn't have got out of this one.
Yeah, we definitely did. But I think Robbie alluded to the fact that we were just inaccurate in a lot of the things we were doing. So in the first half, we played a lot more with a lot more intelligence. But in the second half, I think you probably saw us. We'd take a risky option with an offload, or we'd turn over ball in their half, and then we'd get to back-to-back penalties, which suited the style of Italian play, and they were able to build pressure on us that way. So, I think, as Robbie said, that the physical elements weren't the issue. It was the fact that we stopped doing what we'd done well in the first half that was working for us.
I think the other element that worked very much for Italy was how they disrupted our set-piece ball. Clearly, one of our big issues in the second half was we didn't have the ball. We didn't have possession. Not at all. We know his talent. That's why he's in the team. And I guess what his team provided for him was a platform for him to be able to showcase his talent.
No, they disrupted our ball as well. So I thought the line-outs were probably a neutral result. It wasn't good enough on our behalf. We pride ourselves on good line-out ball, and scrummaging. At different times of the game, they put us under pressure, and the way that you can kick that ball, those balls that we play with, a penalty in their half very quickly becomes a pretty significant attacking weapon with a kick kicked into the 22 and a rolling maul that ensues from there. So, it's pretty easy to go from defence to attack.
Totally wary, and that's why we put such an emphasis on the start, because we knew in this context it's a great stadium, it's a great arena to play rugby in, and we knew that if we gave the Italian side a sniff, they'd come charging in and put us under a lot of pressure, and that's exactly what happened. So obviously the start to the second half wasn't what we were looking for.
Yeah, scrummaging, certainly there's a lot of, I guess, subtleties there that both teams are trying to use, and I think that, you know, as Robbie alluded to, we didn't get the set piece ball that we were hoping to get against them. So, you know, you would say that, you know, the Italians scrummaged very well today.